Hi everyone and welcome to today's event. Today we're going to be learning how to create full color artworks for heat transfers. I'm Andy and I look after events and training here at Target Transfers. For those joining us for the first time, Target Transfers is the home of heat application in the UK, along with heat transfer vinyl and Hotronix heat presses. We're the leading UK manufacturer of heat transfers, including 1 to 5 color screen printer transfers and ultra color heat transfers. We're also part of the Styles Group, the leading supplier of heat transfers, heat presses, and heat transfer vinyl internationally, along with today's guest. Today's guest is Dane Clement from Great Dane Graphics. For those of you new to Dane, Dane is one of the industry's leading designers and educators, and Great Dane Graphics are known for their stock art and training courses for all garment decorating techniques, from full color transfers all the way through to embroidery. Today's Dane is going to take us through a tutorial on how to create full color artwork for Christmas designs. It's going to give some go-to techniques, tips, and tricks, but don't be limited just by Christmas. These techniques you'll be able to apply to all full color designs moving forward as well. We will be recording this event and putting it out onto YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So if you need to go back and rewatch some of these great tips and techniques, don't worry, you'll be able to do that straight after the event. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Dane. Thank you for joining us today, Dane.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. All right. So my name is Dane Clement. I'm president of the Great Dane Graphics, vice president of art and creative process for Group Stahl. Like Andy had mentioned, and we create artwork for the decorating industry, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's jump right into it here. I'm going to share my screen. We'll click this one. And hopefully you should see something here. You see anything yet?
Yep.
All right. Do you see my website?
That's it. You're all set.
All right. So I'm going to spend just 1 minute here telling you that this is our website, greatdanegraphics.com. The artwork that we're going to create today, I'm going to actually use 2 of our stock designs. But all the techniques and the way I build it, you can use for any artwork that you might want to create yourself. So if you come to our website, and here's our homepage, obviously we have training books, we have training videos, that sort of thing. So stock art, collection packs, training books, videos. This is our main thing. We have an online art subscription, right? So we have a little pup and a big dog, and basically you get 100 downloads per month for the big dog. And you also get all of our training videos. So if you like what you see here today, there's a whole bunch of that included with the artwork as well. The little pup is just the 10 downloads, and it's artwork only. Just to show you, if you come over here and you go to browse art, right? And let's just hit a stock art button here. And we'll see a whole bunch of designs, right? It just scrolls and scrolls forever. You can obviously search for whatever you're looking for. You can search by decorating method too. So if you're digital printing and you want to print on a direct to garment or something like that, dye sublimation maybe, you might want to use this one. And the reason I wanted to show this one first off, you see this image here, it's got a lot of fades and soft edges. The ultra color technique that we're talking about today does not handle those well. So there's 2 ways that you can kind of work with those, and I'm going to show you today. So you can see this, right? And if you notice here where it says inkjet laser printing, actually that's a file that if you wanted to do the ultra color with, and you're one of our subscribers, you can start off with that file because we get rid of the soft edges. So that's not a problem, right? They're gone already. So you can kind of start with that. If you want just regular black line clip artwork, we have that as well. And vinyl, of course, we're Stahl's company, right? So if you want to do a vinyl cut design, you can do that. That's a template here, right? Go to basic, show the artwork here. So these are all designs that are ready made for vinyl. So the line weights, thicknesses, cavities, and all that sort of thing are kind of adjusted and taken care of for you. So it weeds really easily, which is obviously the problem. Not the problem, but the slowdown part is the weeding process. So we take care of all that stuff. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Find us at greatdanegraphics.com. So without further ado, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's go find my Photoshop here. Let me move this. It's in my way. Sorry. That was my little window thing. So we're going to do a Merry Christmas design because Halloween's here already, right? So couple things to look at. If you notice, you can see that this design sort of fades away at the top and the bottom. It's got a lot of soft edges here on the outside edge. Anytime you see these gray and white checkers, that means it's transparent, right? So the artwork is on a transparent layer. We're going to use that design and this design, but the only thing we're going to do out of here is we're just going to steal this little ornament. So we're going to take that Christmas ornament and we're going to put it inside of this guy here, and we're going to work with it, right? So I will be using a Cintiq, which is what I'm looking at right now, and what that is a Wacom product that has a cordless pen. So I will be using my brick, right? I use a mouse all the time. I go back and forth all the time. So if you don't have one of these, it's not necessary, but you can get yourself a small Wacom tablet. It's the same concept. It's a pen versus a brick, and you'd have it on your desk, and your hand would be down here, but you'll be looking at your screen this way. Takes just a little bit getting used to. It's very cheap. This is $60 US here at a Best Buy or something. So it's not very expensive at all. This, on the other hand, Cintiq is much more expensive, but you don't need to have it, right? So, all right. So just to show you, this is transparent background. So is this one. But if you're going to create your artwork, and this is something that I'm going to do now, right? We're going to go to File menu, New, and we're just going to use those two as jumping off points. So on our side, the largest we can print on our Ultracolor in the States is 11.5 by actually 18 inches, right? So when we create our artwork, we always have our vertical a little bit higher so we can allow for the image and text or whatever, but we leave the width for the shirt kind of wherever it lands, right? So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I guess I can go to centimeters like you guys would have over there. Now, right here, the rest of this information is very, very important because you have to answer these things correctly or put in the right info in order to do a good job on your print. So your resolution should always be 300 pixels per inch. That is a high resolution file. Your color mode, I create my artwork in RGB always. Even though we're printing to a CMYK printer, when you supply an RGB PNG file to that, the RIP or the print driver is going to interpolate those colors and do the math and crunch it down and print accurately, right? So RGB, and right here, one of the most important things is in your background contents, Photoshop defaults to white. You want to make sure you have it as transparent. And right here, I always use Adobe RGB 1998 as my color profile. You can use whatever one you want, but I like the rich blacks and the vibrant colors it gives us. So I'm going to hit the create button, and there it is, right? So what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pull out my panel, my artwork panel here, and I'm going to come to my layers, and I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to drag it right in to this image, this document. And if you can see it, it's kind of it cuts off because when we create our artwork at Great Dane Graphics, we do 14 inches by 14 inches. So it's much larger than it needs to be. So I'm just going to go to Edit, Transform, and come to Free Transform. And I'm going to hold my Option or the Alt key just to center it in the center of the page. And I'm going to kind of shrink it like this, and I'll just set it. All right, so now what I want to do is we're going to have a background element in here. So let me see real quick. I'm going to show you what the finished design is, if I can, so you guys can get an idea what we're going to create. All right, so we're going to create this design with the snowflake background stuff, and we're going to add different color ornaments to it. So that's what we're shooting for, just so you know. All right, so here we go. I'm going to create a new layer by clicking on the new layer icon there, and I'm going to look for a shape. We're going to find that snowflake. Now that snowflake, if you open up your shapes in Photoshop, right, you're going to have to go get this legacy thing by hitting this little fly out menu and legacy shapes and more, right? Because I have a new version installed, this 2021, and it's in this legacy shapes and more. I'm going to click on that, then all legacy default shapes. I don't know why they take them out. If they're in there, they should just leave them in there. But if you go to nature here, right, and you just scroll around, you'll see the snowflake that I use. So I'm just going to click it out, hold my shift key to constrain the proportions there. We'll try to make it as large as we can. I'll tuck this away now. So I'm going to go to the outside corner, and I'm going to rotate it because this is the tallest way, right? Vertically, that image is taller than it is wide by just a little bit, but I want to get it pretty big as a background element in here. So now I'll just kind of center it there, and set it. All right. I'm going to turn off my artwork for now because I'm not ready to use it. I'm going to create a new layer on top. And if I hold my command key and click on this icon here, it's going to select that snowflake, right? But now I want to go ahead and fill this new layer with white. So if I hit my D key, that makes my foreground color black and white. If I hit my X key on my keyboard, it exchanges those. So it makes my white as my foreground. So on my new layer with those marching ants here, if I hit Option Delete or Alt Backspace on your PC, you can see we just filled that selected area with a color. So it's got marching ants there. So I'm going to kind of make those outlines. If I go to Select Menu, we'll come down to Modify, and I'm going to contract it. And I'm going to contract it by 18 pixels works. I hit OK. So you see that there. Now watch this. I'm just going to delete it, right? So let me do this in a minute here. All right. So I deleted it. So which means I'm going to make an outline, and then I'm going to shrink it in, and I'm going to fill it again. So I'm going to go back to Select Menu. I'm going to modify it and contract it once more. We'll do, say, 24 pixels and hit OK. And you can see it's just kind of going in. I'm going to fill it with white, right? Like that. Now let's do this. I'm going to come in and put a white, color background underneath all of it. So we know we can see this white stuff because it's hard to see it as it is here. So there we go. So now we have our snowflake layer. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to select this inside because I'm going to do it again. And I want to make a blue, but we're going to pull the blue from that Christmas design. So if I grab my magic wand tool here, right, and come over here and click. Now see what happens? It clicked, it selected all of the white there, right? Well, because my contiguous thing is unchecked. So I'm going to deselect that and click on contiguous. Now it's just going to, when I do it, it's only going to select the stuff that's connected or touching. So now if we go to Select Menu, last time here, Modify, Contract, and let's do another 18. Hit OK. And let's do this. We go to Window. Right, we'll pull up, we'll just go here, I guess. Nope. Let's go back here. We have them in here. So let's just do this. Grab my eyedropper tool and click on a blue there, and I want to make the background, right? I go to my artwork layer here that's selected, my snowflake. My light blue is the color I'm looking for. I'm just going to Option Delete or Alt Backspace again. And then now our snowflake is kind of where we want it. To go with. Actually, I missed a step. It looks like I rotated it before and added a new one, but we'll just go with this one. This should work. All right. So with my artwork, I just moved it to the top. We'll shrink it. So if I go to Edit Menu, Free Transform, right, and we go a little bit smaller, I'm just going to kind of do like this. And I'm trying to break the borders right here and up here, only where the solid stuff is. So if you notice, there's a lot of fades up above, right? We can't print that, so we're going to have to remove it. But everything else inside that shape is going to work for us. So you'll see what I'm talking about in a second, because we're going to take that stuff off. All right, so that looks pretty good. It kind of fits into the size that we're looking for. So now if I hold my command key again and click on my shape, right, and my artwork layer, I'm going to duplicate it, just so we have an extra one, because I like to keep an extra in case I mess up something. Happens a lot. Already messed up on what I did last time on this design. So it's going to be a little bit different than the one that Andy's going to show you. So it still works though. All right. So now go back to my artwork. When I say we can't use this stuff, I'm going to grab my pen as a moment, hit my E key from my eraser tool, and watch what I'm going to do. We're going to select my artwork layer here, right? And what am I doing here? Why is it not working? Let me select, let me see, 0. All right, so because my white selected, so what I need to do is inverse the selection now. Yeah, there we go. So I just inverse the selection because what I want to do is get rid of all the stuff in the background and inside the white here. Watch, see this? Because I like it to be clean in here, right inside the shape. So I like the artwork to be, the blue stuff to be inside that outline of the white. I think that looks pretty good. And got to remove all this stuff. So you see here, we have this soft stuff. So you're just going to kind of come and erase it really quick. Do the same thing here. You might want to spend, a few minutes more time-wise on yours if you do something similar, right? But something like that. And you can see using this pen, this type of pen really lets you do this pretty quick. So I'm just kind of scrolling around my image and I'm going to erase wherever I see that taking place, like up in here, right? So we're going to do this all the way around to right next to this tree, kind of do that. You know, and this one I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so I get a little bit more detail to follow around this tree itself. Okay, it's getting there. This is the most tedious part of it. You don't want to ruin your artwork, but it doesn't really matter if you go into it a little bit because you'll never see it. As long as it's solid is the idea. Now here's something interesting, right? So this hat broke free of this the shape, right? So on the outside there, as you zoom in and out, kind of so you can see, we're going to keep that ball because it's going to have a hard edge, right? The only reason we can't keep it now is because it has all the soft edges kind of all up in this area, right? So if I do it like this and just sort of paint right around it, we'll have that, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about in just a minute. So just kind of erase here. Left bracket key, by the way, reduces the size of my brush in Photoshop or just about every application that you can paint with. Affinity Photo, if you are an Affinity Photo guy, that kind of thing. So you just kind of scrolling around and cleaning up the art. This is the part that takes just a little bit of time. And you can see it's not hard, but we're on a time crunch here. So left bracket makes your brush smaller, right bracket makes it larger. All right, so there we go. All right, so I'm just cruising around, and it looks good. This one, oops, wrong brush. I need an eraser tool. There we go. Sorry, E key for eraser. And if you notice, I'm on my keyboard with my left hand and on my artwork with my pen tool, right? Painting and selecting things this way makes it pretty easy. Hold my shift key, give me a straight line. Always a good thing to do. You find you do that an awful lot. All right, almost. And all that's good. Man, where is the time going? Gee whiz. There we go. Andy, any questions yet? Because I can answer them and do this. I can do two things at once. If we got any.
Let's have a look. So I've got a question here. Someone's asking if they've never done a Christmas range before, but they want to get started. Obviously this tutorial is going to be great for them, but it's really easy to get started doing any kind of artwork, but Christmas designs is quite an easy one to get started with. Would you say, Dane?
Oh yeah, sure. It depends on if you want to create and draw your own stuff, because we draw all these things right ourselves, or start off with stock art. But the whole point of this particular lesson is to show you that even if you start off with a cool design, it doesn't have to stay that way, right? You can alter it and make it yours. And when I show you, when we'll kind of compare all three here in a minute, the two originals and then the final piece. I think it'll be pretty cool, and I think you'll get the idea. You can customize anything once you know how to do it, and these techniques will work for Christmas, but actually it'll work for anything. And if you notice, I just took the tip off of that bulb, so we'll have to just live with that. So here we go, almost.
While you're doing that, Dan, as well, I just wanted to echo what you said a minute ago about when you set up your artwork initially, is that one of the most common mistakes we find with people uploading artwork and creating heat transfers is leaving that white box on when you create your designs. It seems such a simple thing, but because there's such volume going through here that now that it's always best to upload your artwork perfectly, because otherwise we don't want to have to put it on hold and double check with you whether you want that white box or not. So always best to upload without, just to make sure you get that 2-day turnaround then.
There you go. Yeah. And if you create it with the transparency like this from the beginning, you don't have to fix it. All right. You already did it. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use my quick selection tool. I'm going to make my brush a little bit larger. I'm just going to try to grab this ornament, right? And with the way the quick selection tool works is you click and drag and it looks for a change in color, like a transitional area. And it does, it works on that. So in order to clean this up a little bit, I'm going to hit my L key for my lasso tool. And if I hold my Option key or something or the Alt key, I can deselect from my selection like this, right? And just kind of clean this up. And I'm not too worried about it because it's going to be such a small piece to this design, these little bitty details anyway. The ornaments will be very big as far as part of a design element, but here we go. So that looks pretty good, right? So here's a cool design. You could put, Merry Christmas on this and you're done. But just to show you, we can make it even cooler. We get to play around with things, which I love. So Command T or Control T on a PC will give you your free transform. That's how I got to this. Or it's edit and come down to free transform. That's how you can grab things and resize things. All right, so I'm going to turn off these other eyeballs here for a second because I'll just show you what we want to do is we want to make this stuff here in the middle white, right? So grab my lasso tool and I'm going to just grab the ball part of it because I do want this top piece, the metal piece, to stay that way in all of the colors that we're about to create here. So we just isolate the ball piece of it. And right here, I'm going to go to my reds because there's a little bit of red in here. And we're just going to make it lightness all the way to white. I'm going to go to my yellows and we're going to do the same thing. And then now I'm going to go to greens, right? We're going to move some of this green in here like that. Okay. So I'm going to hit OK to that. Now, next thing I need to do is select the white areas because I want them a little bit more white. And I'll deselect this, grab my magic wand tool here, and I'm going to click on it, right? And this says contiguous is checked on. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on for now because it gets just a little extra wonky. If we don't, it'll start grabbing more colors than we want. So that's pretty good. One more spot here, right? What I'm going to do now, though, is grab my L key, hit my L key, gives me my lasso tool, right? And I can hold my Option key, the Alt key, and deselect this little piece here in my highlight. And, maybe right there. But that looks pretty good. So if I just go to view, let's see, extras, right? See that Command H or Control H. If I do that, it's just going to hide it, but it's still selected. So Command L, Control L brings up my levels or image adjustments levels. And I'm just going to lighten up that stuff right there, right? Something like that. So looks good. Grab my L, hit my L key again. I know it's a lot of shortcuts for you, but it's just using the lasso tool, right? Just coming over here and clicking on this tool here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the marching ants. Command Control H will hide them, or you just go to the view and do the extras here. Pull up my hue saturation. So I want a red one first. Let's go ahead and find us a red. So I'm going to move the hue slider and I can get any colors in the rainbow that we want. There you go. There's a good red right about there. I can saturate it up. That looks pretty cool. I do that, right? So let's duplicate it now. Okay. So now bring up my hue saturation and let's make a green one. Why don't we? We do like that. We hit OK. I'll duplicate my layer again. Pull up my hue saturation. Let's go ahead and find, I don't know, maybe a purple. I like purple. It's my favorite color. See my glasses? All right, one more. Let's do a blue. I don't know. Let's go this way. How about that? Yeah, that's good. Let's do that. All right. So come down here to there, right? We got all our ornaments in place. I can turn these things around. So hit my V key to get my move tool. You know what? That's kind of big. So let's go ahead and select all of the ornaments at the same time, all the 4 that we just made here. I'm going to go to Edit, come down to free transform, right? And we're just going to shrink them a little bit just to kind of get them to something that might work with our design. Now I'll double click it. Now all the ornaments are exactly the same size. If you want them different sizes, you can do that a different way too. So that's not a problem at all. So so now this one seems to be in place. Let's go ahead and take a purple one out and we'll just sort of move it. I don't know, so over here, and you can nudge it with your arrow keys and just try to find a place where you might want to have it hanging. Click on my green and come down here. We'll hang it from there. That looks cool. Scroll up on my layers here, grab my red. And where do I have a red? I got a red hanging from this part. You know, knock it down a little. There we go. So I can duplicate my red now, and we can put it somewhere else. Let's add another one here. Right, and then there's a green. Let's duplicate it. Whoops, you double click it and you think you want to put a stroke on it or something, or drop shadow. We don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and put it where we got over here. So we're just going to hang them on their little edges, right? That's kind of the whole point here. So here's a purple. We'll duplicate it, and I don't know where we'll put it. We'll put it up here. Let's take this blue one, and we'll move it this way. There we go. Up, nudging it up kind of gets it to be believable. Here's my purple, and we're going to put it to the top. Something like this. All right, you know what? One more blue. Duplicate it. We got two of each, I guess, right? And we'll put one here. Nudging it down. All right, so I won't do this for everything, but if I come over here, hit my E key for my eraser, right? As long as we have our thing going over, right? In one spot, it looks like I would do that to all of them, obviously, but we're running out of time. So one more cool, important thing I want to put in here. I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm just going to create a new layer. I don't know what was on that layer there. So I want to get my white. So if I hit the D key, moves my foreground color to black and white, hit my X key, it exchanges those two. Now hit my B key to get my brushes. I'll just come over here and click on brushes. And I want to show you this, right? So inside of Photoshop, there's a special effects brush folder. Twirl that down, and these Kyle's guys got some pretty cool brushes. I'm going to use this one here. So I'll double click it. And again, see my brushes over here. The size, right bracket makes it larger. Left bracket makes it smaller. I got my white selected. I got it on my layer back there. And why am I not? Let's see, 100%, 100%. Oh, because underneath my background. Don't want to do that. We got to have my artwork layer above here. There we go. Right? Whoops. All right. So I'm just going to kind of splatter some snow flowing around my main flake here, right? And I'll hit the E key for my eraser, right? And I got a solid brush, solid edge. I'm going to just go kind of clean up anything that's too far on the outside. Maybe I don't like that one there, and I don't want this one. And some of these things, if they're a little bit too small, just get rid of them. That way you won't have any issues. If you do a 1 millimeter circle, you can figure that out. But there you go. That looks pretty good. So let's do it real quick. If I go to my view, right, and go view my rulers. And they're in inches. Let's see. Let's go to millimeters, right? If I come down, this is like a little way to cheat and find out. So if I do this, I click and start dragging. I'm at 3.6. I'm gonna hold my shift key and just kind of make it a 1 point. There it is, right? And I could fill it with a color if I wanted something nice and bright so I can see it. If I put it on its own layer, by the way, you might want to do that. So Option Delete will fill that with the color. You can see it there. That's my 1 millimeter. That's your minimum size that you can have these little spots. So you do like that, just kind of zoom in and you can check it. This is plenty big enough, so it'll work, right? So that's how you check. Make sure you can get all the specs. So you got a killer transfer from Target here, and you'll be good to go. So there you go, Andy. I think I did it in time, maybe. Whew, that was a lot.
Perfectly on time. Thanks, Dane. That's really, really, really helpful. Right. And like we said at the beginning of the session, is that this is all going to be recorded and be going on live straight away. So if you've got any questions, you'll be able to go back, watch it straight away, or look at it tomorrow on your lunch break, take your time over it and get it right. And if you'd like to go more in depth, Dane mentioned before that there's lots of content on his website, which is greatdanegraphics.com, and he's got plenty of tutorials on that. Head to our YouTube channel. You can also see some of the past events that we've done with Dane. He was a part of the Unleash the Color event we did back in April. But there's some really great videos there. There's one about how to create gang sheets, which I'd highly recommend everyone using to really maximize everything that the profitability. So we've got a couple of questions coming in here. So first of all, someone wants to know what the minimum order quantity is. So I can take this one. So the minimum order quantity is just 10. So if you want to get started with some Christmas designs or try some new ones, it's only 10 designs. So it's really, really easy to get started. And means you can try lots of different design types like the one that Dane's just done. Some of the other great artwork he's got on his site, you could just download and get that as a test of work, or try some of the other designs while you're there as well. So really, really easy to get started. So we've got a question here about someone's asking about file types. We're just going to bring this up. So what file types can I use?
Yeah.
So I mean, from our point of view at Target, we'll accept EPS, PNG, JPEG, PDF. But I guess you'd probably would recommend only for artwork like that. You'd probably recommend, would it be EPS or PNG would be for the best results on that, Dane?
PNG for sure. I'd create it in Photoshop or whatever application you want, and even if it's native, like this is a Photoshop document that I created today. But when I save it, if I wanted to send my transfers, I would save that file on a transparent background, which means I'd turn off that gray color background that I had, turn the eyeball off on it, and save a PNG. So all the artwork will be on a transparent background, and then and it's an RGB file that you guys will automatically create and match the colors, right? It's just that's the workflow I would do.
Okay, so someone's asking here, what is a gang sheet? I just mentioned that a minute ago. This is a terminology we use here it basically means ganging your designs onto a large sheet. So for best results, we always recommend picking the largest sheet and getting as many designs as you could possibly fit onto it. Just you can get much better margins on your designs that way. But I can really quickly show you how to get started with a gang sheet for that person asking that question. Just bear me one moment. Just going to share my screen with you. So you can see here, I've just gone to the EasyView website, which is custom.targettransfers.com. So if you wanted to do a full color gang sheet using a design similar to one that Dane's very kindly done for us today, we'd recommend going down and selecting full color designs. This is going to be the ultra color transfer type that we've been talking about today, which is this is a product that's been developed as internationally by Styles, Target Transfer, and Transfer Express in the US to give you the best full color option for doing heat transfers. These are all printed within 2 days, so anything you order today will get that turned around to you in 2 working days, so you can get to it nice and quick that way. So I've picked an A3 sheet, so that's the 29.7 by 42 centimeters. But this is the biggest sheet that is available for us. Click Add Design, Add Ultra Color Heat Transfers Design. And Dane has very kindly sent me his artwork earlier on today. So I'm just going to use that now.
Which looks a little different because I forgot a step, by the way.
That's okay. It doesn't matter.
I'm confessing up front.
So you upload your design, it appears immediately, and straight away you can get started with looking at pricing. So if I wanted to order 100 of these, it's only going to be £2.79 each, which if you think about it, the average cost per Christmas jumper, you look at sort of £3 to £4, but the retail price is more like £15 to £20. So you can get really good profit margins with this festive attire. But if you want to create a gang sheet, what you could do here is if you wanted to, so for instance, if you're just testing it, or you're looking to do some other Christmas designs, or just you want to combine it with some other work that you already have going through, it's very easy. All you do is you just keep adding designs. So I'm just going to add this lovely surf shop design, which is actually one of Dane's other designs that he did for us earlier on in the year. So I can just pop that at the bottom there. I'll add another as well while we're here. So straight away, we've now got 3 designs on this artwork, which means that we can now divide the cost per sheet by 3. So a £2.79 design has now gone to just under £1 for each one, which is obviously really great profit margins, and it's super easy to do a gang sheet. And these are only available in the UK from Target Transfers. So when you're happy, you've got your quantity, you've got your price, you just hit buy, and that's all there is to it. Nice and easy. So let's just go back and see if we've got any more questions for us. Okay. I had a question here on LinkedIn about training. So they just want to know if there's any other training available, Dane. What sort of training resources do you have available on your website?
Yeah, so we have digital download training books that walk you through step by step how to do lots of the stuff that you saw today. We have training videos as part of our Big Dog subscription. So if you get 100 downloads of any artwork that you want, as well as all the training videos that we have up there, it's all part of it.
Excellent. So a question here as well was just quite a simple question, but what are heat transfers? So really simple for anyone that's never used heat transfers before. We essentially send you a design and we put it straight onto heat applied paper. So you can put this at your leisure, at home, or in your workshop. They go under in 12 seconds at 120 degrees Celsius. Just cut them up when you're ready, or if you want to order a smaller size and you don't have to do any cutting, and then you get this really fantastic full color finish here, which you can see. This is some of the Christmas designs we've been doing in the building, but you get fantastic gradients and blends, much like the ones that Dane's taught you how to do today, but really nice and simple. But the great thing is it retains those vibrant colors that you'd like to see on the screen, get reflected in the actual finished product. And the wash quality on this is really great. So it allows you to create a premium festive design or a full color design any other time of the year as well. Okay. Quick question here from Jeffrey. Is the minimum order still 10? Yes, still 10 on everything apart from some of the subly blocker products, which are for dye sublimated clothing. But for what Dane's taking you through today, it'll be 10, and that is on any size. And Richard would like to know, can you vector one image and then add them individually to the gang sheet? So absolutely. With a gang sheet, you can do it 2 ways. You can either vectorize your artwork in Photoshop and say if you wanted to add 5 artworks to your sheet, do them all individually, upload them one at a time. Or if you prefer, you can create the whole sheet within Photoshop and upload it that way as one single document. We don't mind either way to do it. The EasyView designer will let you do it both ways. So whichever way you prefer to do them, go for it. All the sizing is all on the page. So you've got the different breakdowns for all 8 layouts. So it'll be very easy for you to get started. And that is all of our questions for today. So I'd like to say thank you again to you, Dane, for that really insightful tutorial. It's really helpful.
Thanks for having me.
I know that's all right. It'll give a lot of value to our customers. If you've got questions for Dane after the fact, he has a great website, so you can get in touch with him through that. He also has a great feature on there, so you can request artwork. So if you were to go onto the site today and it's not quite what you're looking for, or you've got some projects that are for 2022 and you would like some artwork, we have some suggestions, please fill in the suggestion box, because they're always curious to hear what everyone's working on, and they've got a great team of designers there that can always create something that will work for you. So please make sure you go and do that. If you would like to have any other artwork tips or tricks or future videos, please leave a comment in here or send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. We'd love to hear what you thought about today and any other tips and techniques you'd like to see from Dane, and we will look to plan a future event with him around other techniques.
Awesome.
We will also be going live next week. So if you would like to see how the application works for Christmas designs, Ultracolor Christmas designs, join us next Thursday. And we'll also be doing some of our Shimmer Christmas screen printed transfers on there. Again, you can download artwork, which is great for just 1 to 5 color screen heated transfers from Dane's website as well. I'd highly recommend you go and have a look there. Just a reminder for everyone, that is greatdanegraphics.com. So I will let everyone finish for now. So thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks again to Dane. And just a reminder that if you need to get hold of Ultracolor full color heat transfers, it's custom.targettransfers.com. Okay. Thanks, Dane.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.